How's it going, everyone? New figure time, and this is of the Nendoroid Bayonetta. So this is based off of the first time Bayonetta appeared in the first game. So she has slightly longer hair with a black and red color scheme versus the second game, which is shorter hair and black and blue color scheme. Depending on where you're coming from, she might just be a Smash character to you. So I'm kind of excited to have this figure finally in hand. This was a limited edition, so if you didn't buy yours now, then you are probably looking at paying above retail price, unfortunately. I can't exactly remember where I bought my one from. I'd had two on order. One just got delayed, and then this one I bought from a UK retailer. But I'll put some links in the description below if places still have them in stock. But otherwise, in terms of packaging, this is pretty much normal for most modern Nendoroid figures. Pretty small stature box now, which is much better. You got a window display showing you the figure, plus some option parts that you can see the Scarborough Fair guns, some effect pieces, and then a lollipop hand. For Bayonetta's box, there's some decorations on the box, which is just simple feathers going around. It's not a damaged box or anything like that. It's just actually supposed to be that way. And then number 1485 with the Bayonetta portrait right there as well. And then some more pictures across the side, and then the back, and then on the top as well. Again, 1485. And on the bottom too. This is the other side. Mine has a little sticker because I got it from a Western distributor and it wasn't a direct Japanese import. Same thing though. But let's get this thing open and see what it's all about. I've taken the figure out of the box and I've already posed it a little bit because I've just kind of swapped parts. Now it is a fiddly figure, so as I go through this, things might kind of fall out and fly off everywhere. So that's kind of why I've also left that figure a little bit as it is. So first I kind of want to go through the leaflet that's included in the box. So usually this is pretty straightforward. It kind of tells you how to swap parts, and for the most part it does the same thing. But this actually takes the time to go through almost every single bit. So how to get her into a squatting position, how to get her into the one leg position, flying with the butterfly effect part, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty lengthy. It's in black and white. I mean, it's nothing overly special, but I just wanted to point it out anyway, because in case you get stuck, that's going to be useful because there are some confusing bits to this figure. So going through the parts first, so here is the butterfly wings that come with this figure. So this is actually going to be in the box on the very back of the card. So once you take the blister out, the actual plastic where the figure rests, take that out, take the backing card out, and then you'll see this in a separate bag there. So this just kind of keeps it flat. So don't worry, it's in the box, or it should be anyway. So this is just a nice simple print. Looks good on there. You got a little hole there that a peg goes through that I'll show you. So you need to use the longer peg that's included in this figure. You get two pegs, a shorter one. So if you just have it like Bayonetta posing there like so, you use a short peg. If you need to use the butterfly wings, then you need to use the longer peg. So I'll show you that later on as well. So Bayonetta comes with two different faces. So you've got the winky face in my left hand, and then more of a battle face in my right hand. Both very good faces, even the default face. So all three faces are very, very nicely sculpted, very nicely painted. They're basically the same sort of Nendoroid sculpt that you come to expect. And the paint also is pretty good and what you would expect from Nendoroid figures as well. But yeah, I really like what's going on with these. I love the earrings on all the face sculpts. Those are nicely done as well. You can see the red on the actual ear, and then the actual gold bit here. And then on the other side too. Really nicely done personally. I'll show you how to swap these so you can see that when the glasses will be on the faces as well. So to skip ahead towards the end if you want to see me swap those. Now the legs are where things get a little bit confusing. So based on the pose that's already there, the right leg of hers is an alternate leg. It just allows a little bit different range of motion to get that slight slant that you can see. And the left leg that's already on the figure is the default leg. So before I get into those, let's show some of the other alternate legs. So these are a little bit confusing. So this left one, or the one in my right hand, is going to be for the left leg for Bayonetta. And it does tell you inside. So I'm just going to take off this kind of restrictor. It's supposed to stop it from shrinking. I've never seen that really before, but it's included. So inside is going to have a letter and a number on the leg. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that so clearly. So just there it says L2, I think it is, which basically tells you you've got left 1, left 2, and so on, so forth. So this leg here is actually going to be for Bayonetta squatting. And this is why the instruction leaflet comes in a little bit handy, so you can tell which leg is going to be for what kind of pose. So this is for the squatting position. The way I memorize it is just the gold bit just kind of goes up the butt cheek here. And then this one is going to be for the right leg, and this one is again going to be for squatting. But the difference is this left leg allows for way deeper squatting than this one does. And then when you have the feet on there, the Scarborough guns don't really get in the way of the left leg. They do on the right leg. Bit confusing. I'll hopefully show you that, and hopefully you'll see that in one of the poses as well. But yeah, these two legs are going to be to allow Bayonetta to squat. So the next left leg for Bayonetta is going to be this one, which is more for flight use. So if you have the use of the butterfly wings, even if you didn't, or you just kind of want a leaping or something, then this is the leg to use. not the squatting one. So just to kind of show you that again. So this is a squatting version in my left hand, and then this one where I'm pointing to is for flight pose. So you can kind of see slight difference. So you see the gold chain kind of goes up and rides up the butt cheek there, whereas it doesn't on this one, but still the white line is there. So this one for flying, this one for squatting. You can probably still use this one for flying if you want to, but this is how the instruction leaflet lays it out, and this is actually the one I prefer for kind of flying anyway. Then the other right leg is this one. So this is the default right leg. You can see the white line here. This is going to be on the outer side, and then the gold rides up the leg, and then one down the leg as well. So this is just a straight leg as it would look with the figure there with the default left leg. So the right leg there, alternate, which I'll show you. Actually, I might as well just pull it up here now. You can see it's slightly different. Here, let me just show you that. You can see it's ever so different. Basically, there's a little cut at the upper edge here. So you can see this edge and the line is angled here. That's angled differently for that right leg. That kind of lets it have that more hips out pose. It's honestly a little bit confusing, and it does get very fiddly, but that's how they've supplied all these parts anyway. So in terms of hands, she comes with a pair that hold the Scarborough guns. So you've got one that I've just shown you there, and the other one is actually going to be for the other Scarborough. So those have little peg holes in them, which I'll show you later. And then the actual default hands are going to be these open palm hands, like so. So red in the palms, and then the rest is going to be white all over. These are really tiny hands, so try not to lose them. But they're basic hands, otherwise basic Nendoroid hands, decently sculpted, pretty simple paint job. Now these ones, in terms of the way they're sculpted, they sit a little bit more wider and more open, whereas those Scarborough gun hands are a little bit more flat, and that's why I've left that one there, because it kind of made it rest on her hips more naturally. It's a bit off because I moved it, but I prefer that for hip resting pose versus this one personally. Then you've got the arm pieces. So these arm pieces are by default applied to the figure. So these are just straight down arms. So one for the left arm, one for the right arm. This just kind of plugs into the shoulders or the hair pieces on her bicep. And I'll show you that as well. But then the alternate ones are going to be the bent elbows. Those are alternate ones that you need to swap out. Then she comes with two larger pistols. So one for the right hand, one for the left hand. And then the ones on the legs are tiny ones. So you can see these here. It's basically just a red sculpt with some gold and a little bit of pink paint or green paint for the other one, for the actual jewel bit there. There's no real chain charm with these ones. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if they did it, but I figured they went for the more simple approach, which is fine too. But otherwise, yeah, basic paint job applied to both guns. Bayonetta also comes with the lollipop hand, which we saw from the window display in the box as well. So you got a hand holding the lollipop right here with a bit of a leaf there. Try not to break this, and try not to break the lollipop either. It's very tiny, so I'm hoping you guys can get a good look at that. Looks good to me. So it's kind of got a rose kind of mold sculpt to the actual lollipop, which is pretty good as well. Effect piece wise, other than the butterfly wings, you've got this for when she does one of her kick attacks. So this just has a little peg there that goes into the straight leg. You just take the foot off and then you just peg that in right there. On the box, this is a little bit more of a purple color, but in the actual box and the actual final product is a bit more pink. To be honest, I can't remember what it looked like in the game, but I think it's fine. I do kind of prefer the more purple, but this is fine too. Very simple kind of effect piece. You get a spare neck joint, which I'm not sure is going to be handy or not, but they've given one anyway. Now let's move on to the figure. Now I've got the parts there, hopefully I don't lose them. And if you've got this figure as well, since it's a Nendoroid and a fiddly one at that, try not to lose the additional parts, because that will be quite upsetting if you do lose them. So the figure itself, sculpted very, very nicely. It's to, you know, the Nendoroid standard. Good smile, do really, really good sculpts, good paint, so on and so forth. So it shouldn't be any surprising. This is quite good as well. Actually, speaking of paint, there was a slight issue with one of the legs there, but it was so minor, you're not really going to see it. It's such a tiny little thing, right? But generally, yeah, I think the sculpt and paint and the overall detail on this figure is very, very nice. It looks great. I love the red ribbons going around and through down here, sculpted onto the hair as well, the gold chain as well, the earrings here on this face too. The glasses are amazing. I love the glasses. I like how they're trying to get the arms of the glasses designed as they would be for the real design. They're not exactly the same, but they've added some sort of kind of design to it, so it's not just a plain sort of arm. Those are pretty good. The texture on her suit is very nice as well. You can see the pattern there, really cool. You've also got the Umbran watch on her chest there, very tiny, but they've still added it in and still painted with the pink jewel there as well. Then the arm hair things as well, these are really cool because each one is different, and they've gone to the effort to actually mold, sculpt and paint them. So you've got the two moons here on this side, and then on this side you've got the other ones. I don't even know what they're called, moons or not, but very nice that they're all different, all on the gold chains coming down, but then they're fixed onto this whole piece of arm hair. Remember, if you don't know about Bayonetta, basically her suit is her hair, and as she uses and summons creatures, she's a witch by the way, she kind of loses a little bit of focus on the hair, i.e. her costume, so she kind of reveals a little bit of herself. Not too much, but it depends. It's pretty cool concept in general. I like that. Not original anymore, but it was cool back in the day. But yeah, really cool detail on this figure, generally speaking. Again, you can see the bent arms have the same detail as I showed you on the straight arms. And then you've got the extra kind of buckles here. And then same on the other arm over there. So all in all, the details are very cool. Here's a little feet as well. Really, really tiny feet. So some Nendoroids, you can kind of get away with standing them without the base in fairly static poses. This Nendoroid is just, have the base at hand, because otherwise she will fall down. She's got really, really tiny, very cute, but very tiny feet. Look at them. Just absolutely, just so tiny. And even the guns as well, the Scarborough Fair guns on those are very, very tiny. But they still went to the effort to actually add the paint on the actual jaws, of the blue and then the white for these ones. I actually can't remember the exact names of them, like Sage and whatever it was, but I can't remember each name of the gun. But yeah, there you go. They're right there. And then finally on the back, you've got just a peg hole as well. So this is the short peg hole that I mentioned, and then the long peg hole, alternate one, if you're going to use the butterfly wings. So it just goes into the back. It's a hexagonal end piece. I'll show you that here. It's a hexagonal end piece, which I don't personally like. I prefer if it was just a more circular one, because it's just kind of a hassle trying to line up the straight lines for this one. Now things might get a little bit more messy here as I talk about articulation and then move on to swapping parts. So just bear with me there for a second. So first up with articulation, the ribbon on her beehive styled hair is on a little ball peg, which you can take off like so. So I'm just going to put that aside just for now. It doesn't move too much. It's best to just kind of leave it as it is. And then she's got head articulation moving left to right like so. It kind of just locks into place. And then it can look down and up. Not too much, because you kind of get that little hair bit kind of stops it. Now, as you saw, the arms do come off a little bit. I'll speak about that more in a moment. Doesn't really tilt. And then you've got a twist here at the torso. That's all you've got there. Now the arms at the shoulders, there is a joint to kind of move upwards, and you can go all the way around and then down like so. And then bicep, you've got that here. But just as you saw with this arm, the bicep, or the arm itself with the ribbon and the buckle, the buckle and the hair basically is quite heavy for the size of the figure overall. It's not heavy in terms of like you picking it up, but for the figure and the weight distribution is heavy, so it will probably slip off as you're tinkering with the figure, and it gets a wee bit annoying, to be quite honest. So if you are going to pose this figure, you're probably going to want to play around with it and get it in a pose where it's not just kind of sitting down like this, so eventually gravity does its job and it slips. It's a little bit frustrating, I'll be honest with you, so just kind of play around with that. But you've got the twist there, and then there's a little bit of another twist here, you can kind of see it. So I'm moving that there, but there's a twist there at that joint. It's a bit stiff for mine, but hopefully you can kind of see what I mean with that. You got a twist at the hand all the way around. That's the gun coming off all the way around like so. And then for the little legs, so you got just a small range of motion for the legs like so, but it's going to depend what leg you've got on. So this is just a default straight leg, so not much, but here I'll show you more clearly what I meant by the right leg alternate one that has a cut there instead. So hopefully this is more clear. So you see this is the straight leg for the default left leg, and then the right leg has a cut there, no cut there. The cut's a bit different, so it kind of allows different range of motion like so. You can't really go sideways as much. So if you want to have a dancing leaping, then yes, you can go. So as I mentioned, so a little flick like that and the arm falls off. So this is the slight frustration with these arms. Both arms are going to do this. I guarantee you that both arms are going to do it. So just keep that in mind. Then for the feet, they can twist like so. Just word of warning though, when you twist it, try to focus your fingers on the teeny weeny feet. I know it's tiny. If you've got big fingers, that's going to be frustrating, but just focus on the feet, because if you kind of move your finger and focus too much on the guns themselves, my worry is that this will end up snapping off. It's probably going to be glued on and like a dent or a socket that's in, but just in case, just try not to play around with the actual, don't try to move it at the gun point is my advice anyway. So that covers Bayonetta's articulation. It's pretty basic stuff as far as Nendoroids are concerned, and given the size and proportions of these things, they're not always going to get the exact poses that you might want to get them into. they'll get him into still decent and appealing looking poses anyway. So now let's swap some parts. So the butterfly wings I did mention earlier on, and I just showed you how you can do those. So basically you get the hole, and then you need to get the long version of the peg, this one here, plug that in through there. Because it's on a hexagonal thing, it gets a little bit annoying lining it up, but once you do line it up, I'm going to try it anyway for the sake of this video. Just force it in. It's a bit annoying and your fingers might hurt after this, but there you can kind of see how Bayonetta might look with the wings. Of course I've not got her own arms attached, but you can kind of see where this is going with that. I'm going to take that back off and hopefully not lose anything. Now you saw the arms I had on were the bent arm here with the Scarborough gun, so I'm going to just put that back to a straight arm. So you take the hand off like so there. It's easy to kind of dismantle everything just so you don't accidentally slip something and something goes flying off. You take off the bent elbow bit here, and let's get this straight arm. Now this is also lettered, so this one is going to be L1, so I need the right arm, so it should be R1. Hopefully you can see it. If not, just believe me, it says R1, and then you just got to push that in to the socket there, and then that goes back into the shoulder peg right here. So just because you change the forearm, it's still going to cause the issue because the weight is still on this piece here. Then we can add a different hand, so let's add the lollipop hand. So actually, to be honest, the lollipop hand is better with the bent elbow, but I wanted to just show you swapping all of it anyway. Just plug that in. Now be careful because this leaf here sticks out, so I'm kind of risking it by pushing it at that point, but go with the fingers here, and then there we go. A lollipop is now inserted into the figure. And then for the left hand, I'm going to kind of just leave that. Actually, no, left hand, I'll leave that all the same, but I'll add Scarborough. So you saw the peg hole there, and you see the peg on this side. So actually I need the other one, so it's going to be for the left hand. So here's the left hand one right there. Just plug that in. Remember, these are tiny little figures, tiny hands, so it can be quite fiddly, and it's made even more fiddly because I'm doing it on camera. So I'm just going to lie it down a bit. There we go. Probably makes it a bit easier. So there I've swapped the hands with the lollipop hand and then added the Scarborough pistol on the other hand. So pretty easy to do. I'm going to take these off because I don't want them to just kind of fly off. And what I'm going to show you now is just the leg. So here, just pull off the little teeny whiny feet. So cute, but just don't lose them. I'm so paranoid of losing them. And then you can add the effect part like so. This one is just on the straight leg. So I'm going to do the left leg, just add that in. So unlike this hexagonal back port bit, this one is just on a circular one, just like the rest of the limbs. So it's pretty simple to do. And there we go. She has the effect part on there. Now I'm going to take that back off so it doesn't stab me or anything. I'm going to change the faces. So when it comes to changing the faces, it's pretty much as you're going to expect as far as Nendoroid figures or general Japanese figures are concerned. But just kind of cautionary things. So when you take off the face, you need to pull it from the bangs. And then the glasses are attached to the bangs as one piece. They're kind of glued together. So don't pull it here because you don't want to damage the glasses. Try not to pull it here because you can see a little bit of her fringe kind of flicks out a little bit, so you don't want to ruin that. So I would say put more pressure on this bit and then just kind of pry away like so. Now it looks like I'm pulling at this bit, but most of my index finger is doing the work. Pry away and there you go. The front bangs come off with the glasses. Keep them clean if you can. I mean, you saw me have my thumb all over them, but that's just because I'm kind of reviewing it, I guess. So you take that off and then you've got access to the faceplate just as you would with any other Nendoroid figure. Like I said, there's the other two figure faceplates. This one is really nice as well. This is a more neutral face. Paint on them is really good. The eyes look great. Eyebrows look great. Lips look great. Little beauty spot also included on this one. By the way, I have that too in the exact same spot. I'm beautiful too. And then the earrings as well, which I showed you earlier on. So yeah, really nice stuff. Take the faceplate off like so. And then we'll swap it with the winky face. Just add that in there and then replace the glasses with the rest of the hair, and there you go. That's how you do the face swap. So pretty easy stuff. And the last thing that I haven't shown is actually changing out the leg. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the squatting one. So which one was that one? It was this one. No, it was not this one. So I'm going to swap with the squatting leg, which remember had the gold thing going up the butt. So you just pull this out like so. Let's prepare that. Leave that there, and then you just got to pull the leg. So this was for the left leg. Take the leg off, the relevant leg, and then just swap it in. So you can see it's just on a ball joint, and then just add that in. When you do swap the legs, you might be tempted to hold her face, but again, remember the glasses are there, so you don't want to break the glasses by accident. So best to just like put your thumb at the torso area. Then you can see the squatting leg there, and then you just got to add the foot. Where is the foot? So tiny, it's hard to kind of locate these things at times. Just add that in. So adding this in can sometimes be a bit fiddly. Again, because I'm on camera, it's a bit more tricky. It's a tiny leg, foot even as well, and sometimes the ports are a little bit tight. So doing it all in this kind of all these variables makes it quite tricky, but hopefully you'll get there in time. So there we've swapped the leg with the squatting leg. Do the same thing with the right leg, and then you can have her squatting, and then of course add the arms, and then you can pose her however you like. So hopefully that covers a good range of the swappable parts for you. I'm not going to do every little bit, but you can imagine the kind of stuff that she gets into. When it comes down to it, it is just another Nendoroid figure, but that's a good thing to me. I like the Nendoroid figures. If you dabble in Nendoroid figures or are a fan of them, then you should kind of know what to expect by this point. And if you don't like them, then same thing, you should know what to expect by this point. Personally, I like the way this figure looks. They've captured Bayonetta really well for the whole design theme that Nendoroids go for. It looks great on display. I love it. The frustrations are definitely in changing parts and kind of the arms especially. So if you can get past that, then yeah, the figure will look great once you get it into a perfect pose. My favorite pose is probably going to be flying with the butterfly wings. I think it just looks really good. It stands out very, very nicely. Nendoroid figures are kind of creeping up a little bit. This was a limited edition, so the price crept a little bit up. People aren't really happy with that, and it's not just with the Bayonetta figure, it's happening with other Nendoroid figures as well, which is a shame. With that said though, I kind of hope they do a Bayonetta 2 version figure where she's got a shorter hair, slightly different outfit as well, and with the blue guns, because that design was very cool as well. But let's see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.